Happy Valentine's Day! It's February 14th, obviously. And I decided to start my vlog a little early. I am gonna do a weekly vlog instead of just Valentine's Day, but I wanted to show you some of the things that we're sending home for Valentine's Day. Let's go. All right, so we did these last year and we still had these boxes at school, so we went with the same theme. They have their name on here and some hearts, and this is where they're gonna keep all their Valentines from their friends. But in addition to that, we have a couple crafts that we put in here as well. I gotta hide one of them that has a picture. All right, so they have a cute little pizza inside. You have a piece of my heart, Happy Valentine's Day. And then we made them, they did thumbprints and we laminated it, Thumb Buggy Loves You. We also did handprint flowers. And then the last one, gotta cover a face. We made the heart balloons and we just took their picture and put, "You make my heart soar." We are also going to add their heart crafts inside of here later. And these bees from a couple weeks ago, we printed out their face that we're gonna glue on. So a couple more things we have to take care of before it's all ready. Also, here is the shelf of goodies that all these kids are gonna go home with. These parents are so cute and have the cutest ideas of what they're bringing. Like, look at this one. It's a dinosaur egg growing pet. Like, what? Are you kidding me? And then we have simple candy ones, and then goodie bags for boys and girls. These ones are so cute. These are handmade. The kid actually helped with the mom gluing things on. So cute. More goodie bags, straws. Literally adorable. We got skateboards and ring pops. And then a crowd favorite, these cookies. This student's mom brings in these cookies for so many things. They are just phenomenal. So cute. So yeah, as I'm sure you can imagine, it's gonna be a busy day. We got a new student today. She's not new to our school. She was from the class next door and she was gonna be on my roster, but she hasn't been in school since December. And it's been a while, so she's doing okay, but you know, new student, gotta go over all those procedures again, so that's a little wild. And the kids are outside right now. They're gonna come back in, we're gonna do the rest of our day. And then probably before we play, we're gonna do our Valentines and pass them all out and then let them play, because we have students who leave half day. They're only here for a couple hours for their VPK certificate, and they go home before lunch. So otherwise I would have waited till after lunch to the end of the day, but we have to do it a little bit earlier. Anyways, I had to get that out of the way, get on here, go through all this, but I will be back hopefully tomorrow, maybe after school today. I know not after school tomorrow because more meetings. Hello, I am back. It is Thursday. The kids are outside at their, you know, outside playground time, and I'm gonna go through the rest of our week, pretty much everything, because we don't have school tomorrow on Friday, so this is my time to get it all in, show you guys everything we did this week. We had to squeeze a lot of stuff in since it's only a 4-day week, and then we have Friday off for the Florida State Fair. The kids get a day off for that. And then we also have Monday off, so then we'll have another 4-day week, which kind of throws our plans off, but it's fine. So let me show you what we're working with. Okay, so this week, a lot of friends did not have time to do our art craft, so hopefully a lot of them get to it today. But basically we just made a license plate, and a lot of our friends do have short names, and then any of our friends that have longer names, we were trying to manipulate like their nickname for them, and Miss Sam just went ahead and already added this part, so they're literally just stamping their letters of their name and then writing the year, and then they had free choice with coloring and things like that. I guess now would be a good time to tell you what our theme is. Our theme is transportation, so that's why we did license plates, and then our poem is Go, 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 and talks about all the different ways of transportation. The kids really like this. For our sensory bin, we brought back the beans again, but this time we have construction things in here as wheels. Kind of stretched this one a little bit, but they had fun with it. They really like it. They love to use this to like dig up the things, so it works. And then for Play-Doh, we just used brown and black and green. And we have these counters, and they're, oops, that's upside down. We got dump trucks. These words sorted, but you know, the kids when they clean up, it's hit or miss if they sort them the right way. Airplanes, trains, I think there's boats, school buses. So just different kinds of transportation, and they usually are making a road of some sort. And what they've learned is that they can push it in and make imprints, and then they think that part is super fancy. Since today is the last day of the week, normally we do show and share on Friday, but we have to do it today for Thursday, and our letter is U this week. So as you can see, we got a ukulele here. We have lots of umbrellas. I'm curious what this is. Oh, unicorn, duh. Umbrella, probably another unicorn. There's gonna be a lot of repetition for letter U, but nonetheless, we're gonna get it done. Also an umbrella that fell out on our floor. We already went ahead and did our poem, even though that's a Friday activity as well. Oh, glued together. It was the go, 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 like I said, and so we gave them a boat and we had them draw the water, and then I also showed them how to draw an airplane in the air. Kept it simple, as usual.
Also, I've been meaning to show you guys this. I'm not sure if you saw on my Instagram, but Jack Hartman, since we are in Florida, he is close here. Our school can pay to have him come in and do a concert. So he came in last week, I think it was, maybe the week before, and he did a concert. And then he gave this to my assistant principal, and she put it in my mailbox and said, "You might enjoy this more than me." So now we have it hanging up, and the class thinks it's like amazing. They think he is super famous, which he kind of is.
Well, now that I've showed you everything around the class, as you can tell, this week was a little harder. We didn't put forth as much effort as we normally do, but the good news is the kids have no idea and they're still having fun. So you don't have to go all out to make these kids have fun. Any type of change that happens, they're excited about, whether it's something that we don't think is very cool or it's something that is extravagant. Next week's theme is space, and we already have quite a few ideas that we want to do, but we really don't have a lot of materials that are space driven. So I'm thinking about spending a little bit of money, even though I really don't like doing that because we shouldn't have to spend our own money, but it's hard to make learning fun when you have no funding, but I'm sure you guys all understand that. Anyways, okay, let's see. Let's start with our social emotional. Normally we have the card, which is Second Step, which is a new program that my district implemented this year for social emotional. So it has so many weeks that it covers, but it's not to cover the entire school year. So on our curriculum map from the district, it tells you like each week what to do, like what card to do. So every once in a while, once you're in a unit and the cards are lining up and it goes with something, then they pull out our social emotional stuff that goes with like our actual curriculum, which a lot of people ask about, and that's McGraw-Hill. So it has like these 6 books, like big books that talk about different skills, and there's like stories in them. And so last year, that's all we had for social emotional. And this year, it's a lot better because it provides more resources. So anyways, the point of that is this week we get to pull out one of the books from the actual series from McGraw-Hill. We've been learning a lot about sharing through Second Steps, so that's what this book is also. It says I work and play with others. And then every book has 2 like fictional stories with like different characters, and then the bottom one is always about little dog. This week we only focused on the first story, which is Maddie doesn't want to share. So on Monday we use that day to talk about our weekend instead of a social emotional, to share if we have our class pets. Also, this is my lunch that I did not put in the fridge, so might need to do that. Squirrel! Anyways, so on Monday we don't really touch any type of social emotional really. And then on Tuesdays when we introduce it, so we normally would have the card and we go through it, but since it's just a story, like that's all they told us to do was just this story, I kind of stretched it out. Like on Tuesday, we read the story and we just talked about the emotions that the characters were going through. And then on Wednesday, they have at the end of the story, we revisited the story. We didn't reread it, but we talked about it and what happened with Maddie and all that stuff just to remind them. But then on the last page, just a quick little page with 2 pictures, and we talked about which picture shows kids that are sharing, which picture shows kids that might not be sharing, and easy to understand. They're sharing, they're both touching it, they look super happy. This boy's just watching, and this one has it all by himself. And we talked about how he could be not sharing, or this little boy could be not knowing how to ask to share. So we role played a little bit of how that little boy could get a turn with the train or what some ideas would be. Today is Thursday, and so we talked about the book of Maddie Doesn't Share Again, and then we did some questioning. We talked about what helped Maddie learn how to share in the story. We talked about what Mason could have done differently, because in the story he like said, I'm gonna tattle on you, and no, yes. What Maddie could have done different. And then we talked about if we've ever felt like Maddie or like Mason and what happened. And then we have no school on Friday, so I didn't even have to try and stretch it one more day. Thank goodness. I probably would have found another book, not this book, that goes with sharing. And then we can go through small group for math. Okay, so for Miss Sam, remember that she is kind of having a big group, and the kids change. Like some of the kids will stay for 2 days in that big group, and then some will go on, and it's a little tricky. So most of the activities are just review but fun. That way they're still engaged if they have to do it a second time. So the first one is from Pocket of Preschool. She gave them a car and they drove, she modeled how to do it. Then they drove the car around, and then obviously with a 0, they said 0 means none. And then they would pick a different one, even teen numbers for some of the kids. And they, you know, went through, drove it on there, and then they had to count the dots. So obviously that, there's plenty of numbers, but you know, they get a little bored after a while. So then she challenged them to put the numbers in order as a group, and they had to work together to figure out, like, to recount it and put them in order. And they did really, really well. She said she was very impressed. And obviously it's differentiated by who's in the group and how high their numbers can go, and obviously challenging those who might be ready for it. Another activity she did with some of the kids, some of the days, depending on if they were done with that, was the pattern block. These are from Tara West. I'm pretty sure I have a whole unit of stuff from her, but they're super cute. It shows the shapes that they're gonna need. And Miss Sam, it was kind of hard for them because it's not one of the ones that you just put the shapes on top of the picture that's already there, which is what they're used to. This picture is way too small. The square will not fit on that. So she had to teach them, you know, it says you need a hexagon. Let's count how many hexagons you need. 1, 2. Get out 2 hexagons so you have it ready. Then it says you need a triangle. Let's count how many triangles you need. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get those out. So they started that way. So it was review of shapes, it was counting, and then she taught them how to go row by row to build it. Like on the very bottom, it looks like you have to start with the wheels. So let's just put the wheels down for now. Needed a little more direction with that, but by the end, they were knocking it out all by themselves. And these are kind of tricky. Look how challenging they are, but super cute, and they were really proud, and it's way engaging. They love pattern blocks. And then what I did for math is our focus was light and heavy. And you know, they have a pretty good sense of that. It's pretty simple for them to understand, like, oh, if it's light, I can pick it up. If it's heavy, I can't pick it up. So that part was easy. So I wanted to add in a little bit of challenge, and it was eventful. We added scissors and glue. But I'm always like, it's stressful, but I'm always happy that I did it because they need the exposure. They're gonna go to kindergarten and they're gonna have all kinds of cut and glue, and if they don't know how, like, I wanna help those kindergarten teachers, give them some kind of experience. So anyways, this is the paper I have. It was a freebie. It just has the truck with light and heavy. So we did have to talk about which side was light and heavy. That's kind of hard for them. Some of the groups no beginning sounds, so we talk about light, heavy. And then once they had an example glued on, they were able to say, oh, okay, well the oven I said was heavy, so this must be heavy too, it goes here. What I did is I used a yellow marker and I drew a line straight across, and then I gave them scissors and I said, cut on the yellow line. So then I had 2 separate pieces. Then I used the yellow marker to trace around it, like the perimeter, and they cut that part out. Then they had just the rectangle, and I told them, okay, cut straight down the middle. So then they had 2 strips, and I'm telling you, they needed every single direction broken apart. I couldn't just give them the paper and say, cut these out. Like, they're not ready for that. But with every single step, they were successful, and then they had their little pile, and they were just sorting and doing it all by themselves. And then some of the kids got super into it. It was so cute. They were like, Miss Langford, a house? That's so heavy. I can't pick up a house. And like super dramatic, every single picture. And then other groups were just like boom, 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 doing it all by themselves. So it was fun, stressful, but successful. Moving right along, we will go into what we did. Did I talk about I don't think I talked about cooking this week. Oh, that's 2 weeks in a row. I didn't show you guys our cooking, I'm sorry. This week was letter U and we did underwater cookies? Yes. I don't even have a picture of it either. Ooh. Basically, we did a graham cracker and they broke the graham cracker in half, and you know it's like broken into quarters. So now they had 2 halves that also had 2 halves, and we took the blue icing and we spread it on the bottom half, and there was a line, so it really helped them to understand that. And then they had goldfish and they stuck the goldfish on. It was simple and everybody loved it. They loved the snack. It was delicious, even though that does not sound good to me. But kids, icing, they're in. I think the reason I forgot to record is because I was doing stuff for an IEP meeting, and then they came in from outside and I was like, I forgot to set it up. So it was a little chaotic, but we survived and they enjoyed it. So U is for underwater. Some of these letters are hard to come up with stuff. Now we can move into reading. Like I said, we are doing transportation. So we started our week off not doing transportation, just doing our letter U book and our letter U hats. And then we moved right into transportation, which honestly was only 1 book this week. So that part's kind of meh. We did this. It's from our curriculum, McGraw-Hill, and it just goes through a ton, literally 26 different types of transportation. Some of them were like Y is for yield signs, so we kind of had a brief discussion about that, but most of it is different trucks, like a moving truck versus just like a semi. And then they had a bus and a newspaper truck, and so it's kind of just exploring different types of transportation. And I was hoping, when I first went to pick this, I was looking through it hoping that it would have transportation on the water, on the land, and in the air, and it did not. So after we went through this, we talked about as a group, what are some things that we can travel on in the water? And they had great vocabulary. Sailboats, tugboats, they said surfboard, like it was really cute. And then same with the air, they were like helicopter, airplane, one kid said parachute, hot air balloon. So they definitely know ways of transportation. And then that was Tuesday. Wednesday was cooking. So like I said, it was a hot mess. We did not get to a story. And then today would be another story day that we usually have some type of follow-up activity comprehension wise. But since we don't have school on Friday, we have to do show and share during our story time. So short week, not as much story time. We are flying through this. Next is small group for reading. And my 2 lower groups, we focus as usual on our letter. We find the letter on our little letter paper. We sing our alphabet up until that letter. We draw the letter, and they're getting good at that routine, so it's not taking the entire small group. We're able to still do an activity. So the activity that I picked this week is something that, like a clip type activity that we would normally put out for them to do independently, but they're not ready for this type of independence. I feel like they would just be confused and clip it on any letter. But what it is just different types of transportation, and we had to talk about the beginning sound. Let's see, another thing that's going on is next week on Thursday, we have conference night again. So my class is a blended unit, which means that I have 10 students that are here for VPK, which is that voluntary pre-kindergarten, and it's a certificate that they get for free. And so they don't have like an IEP or anything like that. My other half, my 8 other students, they have an IEP, so they're here for like preschool, enrichment, get their IEP, but they're still getting VPK curriculum, so that's cool. And since I'm having a ton of IEP meetings right now to prepare for them exiting the program to go to kindergarten, I'm not doing conferences with those parents because I'm already meeting with them with an IEP, which is basically a conference. So I'm only doing my VPK students, and I made a new paper. I have a conference video all about what I do for conferences, and I'll link that down below. But I made a different conference form for this 9 weeks. All right, so I just add the student's name here, the date that the conference is on, and the time. And then if we look there, social emotional goals, I have different things written here that we've gone over since the last time. So recognizing and naming to exhibit those control of emotions, and I added the words often, sometimes, and rarely. Before it said always, and I decided that I didn't really love that word because even I don't exhibit control of my emotions always. I'm pretty close, but you know, things don't always work out that way. Anyways, and so I changed the word always on all the things to be often. So then the next one is attending to preferred and non-preferred tasks, engaging in simple problem solving, and then sharing their thoughts and preferences. That's all under our social emotional, and those are all part of our pre-K exiting goals, like what we want these kids to accomplish based on the standards. So it's perfect. Our district gave us a great tool to use. For reading and writing, I'm just letting the parents know how many letters and sounds they know at this point, which I'm also giving them our data folder at the same time, which they'll be able to sign, which shows which letters and sounds the kids know. And then for phonemic awareness, I'm going to circle blending word parts, counting syllables, beginning sounds, and deleting phonemes. Those are the things we've been working on right now. For concepts of print, we've really been working on front cover, back cover, spine, title, and then what the author does and what the illustrator does. And then writing their name. They all pretty much know how to write their name now, but now we're working on those lowercase letters. I think I've said that before. And then counting words in a sentence. This one is so big. It's so easy to skip over it, but it's a skill that they need to know the difference between a letter and a word, and then to be able to count that. And when I'm asking them to do it, a lot of times they're still counting the letters. So stay tuned, because a small group coming up is gonna be all about cutting those words apart and counting them so that they can grasp it. Math, we're gonna talk about how high they can count, if they can identify and repeat patterns, sorting objects, which was already on there, but now I want them to be able to compare. So if they sort it by color, they can say the red group has more than the yellow group. Identifying the numbers, I'm writing down what numbers they can identify, and then comparing. I have different things that I'm gonna circle to compare heavy and light, which we worked on this week, more and less, which we've worked on all the time, and then long and short, big, medium, small, which Miss Sam has been working on. So I'm just circling if they know how to do that. My favorite part that I added, because a lot of the time parents always wanna know what they can do at home or what's coming up. We're gonna be blending CVC words. We're gonna identify those ending sounds. We're gonna be retelling stories with a beginning, middle, end verbally. We're gonna learn how to substitutize numbers 1 to 5, begin to add and subtract numbers to 5, and write our last name. So those are just our goals. Those are still part of that exiting program list of things that we want them to be able to do when they're leaving. So that's it. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, click that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification bell. I'll see you next week. Bye.